So the polls put Labor in the doldrums. The question is, can they recover? Antony Green is the ABC's election analyst.
Well, it says that currently the government is very unpopular, and if the government was forced to an early election, it's in a great deal of difficulty. It also suggests it's going to be in difficulty if the election goes full term in another 2 years' time. But to think that 58% will be the result of the next election is far too early to tell. The Howard government had figures like this. The opposition had figures like this in the last term of Parliament, and both elections were much closer. But it certainly is not a good poll for the government.
So how seriously should the Prime Minister be taking this?
Well, she has to take it seriously because it's a very poor poll. It's not a predictor of the next election, but the government can't change its course now. It can't change leader. It's committed itself to a policy. It hasn't really got anywhere to go. It just has to soldier on trying to sell its new policy.
Well, at what point does the damage become terminal?
Well, the poll's very bad. It's a bit hard to say it's terminal. Terminal for the Prime Minister. The government would be mad to just dismiss the Prime Minister, change leader again. That would be political suicide. 3 days after releasing their policy, one bad poll comes out. They can't dump the policy. They just have to soldier on. They basically just have to ignore this poll. They've got a bad poll. They've probably got more bad polls to come. But they don't just give up, throw their hands away in the air and walk away. I mean, they just have to carry on trying to sell their policies.
Well, how long can Julia Gillard hold on?
Well, she'll continue to hold on. The government can't dump the Prime Minister. They can't do another assassination of a leader. I'd imagine that there is no way there can be a change of leadership before this tax policy is introduced. Otherwise, it would just be like giving up. They can't dump the policy because no one would believe they're not going to introduce it if they win the next election. So they just have to soldier on, continue on with the policy they've got, and just ignore the bad polls.
Well, as you say, it's just a poll, and politicians on both sides are always saying that they don't listen to polls. Tony Abbott must be really pleased, though.
He must be very pleased, but this is not the result of the next election. This is an opinion poll 2 years out from an election. It certainly indicates the opposition is well on top, but it does indicate that also that the opposition can't just coast to the next election in 2 years' time. If there was an election held next weekend, the coalition would win in one of the biggest landslides in Australian political history, but the election's not next weekend, it's in 2 years' time.
Antony Green, thank you.
Thank you.